So if you come there, you got to be mature enough to be dancing next to somebody that's gay and you straight. Mature enough not to hit on a gay woman that's with a woman. Yo, chill with that. You gotta have that kind of respect. So to give you, if you want respect, you gotta give it. So the house music scene has always been about that.
So today is Tuesday, August 25th, 2025. Who are we speaking with?
Robert Morse,
Let's get
better
it.
known as Bob Morse.
Bob Moss in the building, Harlem Stand Up. Let's talk about you just came back from Sunday sermon. Tell people what Sunday sermon is and tell us about the event this weekend.
Well, this is a Storm and Norman event, and he's been promoting it for 17 years. He started in my neighborhood. There's a park on 110th between Manhattan, on Manhattan Avenue. So he was up in, like he was up on a path. So he was on one side of the path, the people were on the other side of the path. So that went on for a few years. Then he went to 135th Street doing Harlem Week. And that's when the crowd got crazy big. There's a mixture of gay and straight, men and women. He seems to have a core DJs. Him, DJ Messiah, DJ Cozy. And then he fills in with other DJs. One year he had Louis. And he's good friends with Mick Murphy. What's the name of that group? They made that song, You Are In My System. So he had that group perform, Mick perform sometimes. So this one was at Riverbank Park, which is a much bigger area. And let me tell you, it was him, Ted Smooth, this female DJ, Cozy and Masada. And they did their thing. The crowd loved it. But what it was, the sun came beaming down on them and people started melting. People had heat stroke. One girl had heat stroke. Matter of fact, it was Cat. Cat caught heat stroke. I'm not hearing you.
I go on mute, so it's not I'm not
Okay.
reacting live, but wow, okay.
Yeah, and there was a few friends of Albert there. Shauna was there. Elvin was there. And basically, all the DJs did good. I mean, only your personal preference for music would make you not want to like it a little bit more. But you can't argue when the dance floor is packed. You know, you wish they would play something else, but you can't argue with the DJ and you got the floor packed. So it was really good. How good it was? Where they were was an open space, and they're up against the fence that borderlines. You can look over and see the Hudson River. So the crowd is in front of them. Behind them is areas of grass that people could go on, but they set up their tables and their chairs, and enjoy the park. So the crowd went all the way back to where the buses pull in. And I'm telling you, that's a lot of people. And I left about a little after 7, and people were still coming. Still coming. So now all of a sudden you got a little bit more gay people, gay men and women out there, as opposed to straight people. But the mixture was still good. Everybody still had a great time. He made the announcements. What I think is going to happen, he's not going to go back to 135th Street. He's going to do Riverbank Park because it's a much bigger area. And he'll know next time he's going to have to face the speakers a different way to make the dance floor bigger. because there was one side of the place, there was hardly anybody dancing there. They were all concentrated in front of the DJ booth, which meant that it was hot in the middle, you know. So if you spread the speakers out, instead of having the speakers in front of the stage at the corners, move them out a little bit further. You could take the barriers and put them in front of it, and then the dance floor would have been bigger, and that would have been more comfortable. Because everybody was dancing where they were standing. So it was like almost as big as Soul Summit, but not quite. Almost as big. But it's still, it was a good look for him. You know, it was a good look. And the only thing you can't do on state property, you can't vend. You can't ask for money and you can't sell anything. They don't allow it. That's why Soul Summit don't go up there, because they can't vend. They can't even sell their t-shirts. So what he should have did was set up the t-shirts on the sidewalk in front of the place when you come down the hill. So Sunday sermon people would come in and bam, they see the t-shirts, they buy them and then go in or come back out and buy them. You know, so, and there was another thing happening that day. Mark Alston, Cato the cameraman, and Paradise Styles had their all-white party on the city side. And that was banging. You know, it was all white, people spread out, tons of food. Because on the city side, it's different. You know, they set up tables of food. You know, so it was a good thing. So you got that mixture after they closed at 6. So those people came down the hill and they started flowing into the party because they heard the music. So it turned out to be a great day. A great day.
Yeah,
Can't complain.
for people who haven't experienced it in New York City, there's something really special about an outdoor house music event on the perfect summer day in New York.
Yeah.
It's pure magic. It's pure magic.
And these are people of a certain age. They're not there to pick a fight or to look at somebody, what you looking at? No, ain't about that. It's about freedom of movement. People like, you ain't gonna like my lifestyle. So if you come there, you gotta be mature enough to be dancing next to somebody that's gay and you straight. Mature enough not to hit on a gay woman that's with a woman. Yo, chill with that. You gotta have that kind of respect. So to give you, if you want respect, you gotta give it. So the house music scene has always been about that. You're gonna hear great music. You're gonna see a fashion show, you know, because there's some people out there who are really hooked up with the clothes and everything, and everybody was having a good time. I ain't seen no arguments. Matter of fact, I only seen one fight at Soul Summit. It was 2 gay guys, and they people came and picked them up and took them to different parts of the park. Said, "What are you doing? You trying to blow this?" That's what they want to do. They want to have. Oh, you had a fight. There was a rumble. All of a sudden, 2 people fighting turned into a riot. No, that ain't happening. People know we don't. People know that we don't get a lot of events as big as that in New York. You know, we get it in some place like the Knockdown Center. Xanadu is a big skating rink in Brooklyn. So you have the Garage Reunion there. Coney Island, you know. But even Coney Island, you have to be careful because you got a big mixture of people. You got young kids, you know, you got people from the neighborhood that might be a little on the criminal side trying to take advantage, but they're gonna do that anyway. They ain't gonna do it just at a house music function. They're gonna do it every day Coney Island's open. So, but that event was really good. I give them credit. It was really good, you know. And hopefully they'll do it again.
Did you used to go to the parties in the park back in the day, like in the Bronx and Harlem and Washington Heights?
Not Washington Heights.
Hmm.
I went to Marcus Garvey Park. I went to 135th Street. I went to when Norman would have it in conjunction with Harlem Week. He'll get like 116th Street and he'll set up. I seen Lady Alma there one year, and she killed it. She killed it. So when you see someone singing and everything's cool. You're sitting in your chair, you're buying a drink or something like a soda or water. Everybody's dancing, having a good time. Those are the kind of things I like to go to, like vinyl night. Vinyl night is like Hudson Yards at 34th Street. It started at 34th Street next to next to Madison Square Garden. But the restaurants started complaining. So they had to move it to Hudson Yards. And Hudson Yards is a little contained park, Bella Absent Park. So all of a sudden now it went from 4 times a month at 34th Street to 2 times a month. Left going, won't you let us live? We're letting you live. What's the problem? Oh, you don't want to hear the music? What's the problem? We no problem there. Everybody's having a good time. The vendors are there selling food and water and things, Hey, let people live. I don't understand this. Why you want to, cut our time to have a good time? Would you rather have us explode for not being able to go where we want to go? Don't hold us back. We're not holding you back. And you know the kind of people I'm talking about. They walk by and they look like, oh, they're having fun. Oh my God. You could come in there and have fun. Come on now. That's what this house music community is about. It's not just house, it's dance music, playing oldies, R&B, and you go to these functions, it's like everybody's having a good time. And so what's the problem? So they limit the permits. I don't know why you're gonna limit the permits. I did one gig on 8th Street and the police came in, was looking around to see who's drinking and what you got in your glass and all this. I said, yo, man, come on, what are you doing? Oh, you know what time you're supposed to turn the music off? Of course I know, I have the permit. What's the problem? Don't, and then next year they wouldn't let us have a permit. Oh, they played the music too loud. Excuse me, none of y'all had a sound meter and we had a permit. So what's the problem? You didn't tell me to turn it off. We played to the time, cut it off, packed up and went home. So I don't understand this constant thing to hold people down. This let people live. That's all. So mostly the events around the city are mostly there's no drama. It happens. It jumps off. Even in the Bronx, St. Mary's Park, they have functions there. The beach, Orchard Beach, they have things out there. I really don't know how much trouble they have at Orchard Beach. Because I don't really go out. There's too, that's too much of a hike, for me. So okay. But from what I can understand, everybody goes out there and have a good time. And I don't see why people want to limit that. You want people to be happy. Blow off steam dancing and talking and laughing. Being with your family, your friends. It's just something that, people have to realize that we need to entertain ourselves. So it went from house parties to now we have parties in the street, in the park. and then you can't drink, you can't cook anything, in a barbecue or anything like that. It's a concrete park. What am I going to burn down? Please tell me, what am I going to burn down? And the park is all concrete. The only thing that Norman and people will ask, clean up after yourself. As you leave the park, put your trash in the trash receptacles. Don't mess the park up. You'll have it for next year or the next event. And that's what, people are hip to that. They don't want to get stopped from enjoying Fort Greene Park or Marcus Garvey Park or the Knockdown Center or other venues, other areas. Like there's a venue in Brooklyn that they have all the hip hop events at, and that seems to be working fine. It's in coordination with the summer stage, so you see some nice acts out there. Even though it's a younger crowd, it seems to be pretty cool, but not as cool as house music things. Nobody goes to a house music event looking for trouble. I can tell you that for a fact. They don't. They don't. You ain't got to like the other guy's lifestyle. Nobody's forcing you to, but just respect it. They respect what you're doing, But hey, that's how it is.
Tell us a story. Tell us what was, and tell us a story about the tunnel.
I went to the tunnel a couple of times, and when I first started going there, it was for industry parties. The record label gave a party there. So you would see people like Chris Rock, Frankie Crocker, and a lot of well-known DJs. The tunnel was kind of interesting. There was a dance floor, and then to the right of the dance floor, or to the left of the DJ, there was an actual tunnel with a train in it and train tracks. So that was the novelty of that club. But when they started having certain people give parties there, in front of the tunnel, it got kind of dangerous. People get liquored up, come outside, and start having crews be having beefs. But that's the rap crews having beefs with other rap crews. But when it was an industry function to break a new artist, different kind of people going there. They're not going there to come outside and get in a fight. So that kind of hurt the tunnel, because that's what happens, when you have a younger generation that think that a rap crew is about being a gangster. They forget about you rapping about street life and all that. You don't have to be violent, but that's when, the cursing and the music started happening, and the jealousy between this coast, that coast, the South, people from Texas, people from Boston. Come on, live and let live. When I was at Downstairs Records, we didn't have that problem. People from all over came to the store, from all regions, looking for beats and records. What's the problem? I didn't get that younger mentality. Don't mess up what you're trying to create. You're defeating yourself. You're limiting your choices. I remember one time that this kid ran up on this kid called Eminem. And Eminem had a little record out. He was starting. So we was in this club, and this drunk kid runs up on Eminem and starts beefing with him. So I walked over, but before I could walk over, his manager stepped to the kid and said, back up. He didn't say nothing to you. Why are you over here beefing with him? But when he saw me walk over, now he's outnumbered. But we didn't put our hands on him. We said, yo, stop, leave him alone. He's going to perform in a little while. What's the problem? You don't have to do this. Finally, the kid, kept himself, and, he seen that he wasn't going to be able to come at Eminem like that. So he backed up. And I forgot his manager's name, but his father was big time at the Apollo. That was Eminem's manager. So the little things like that would happen. But it didn't happen a lot because I really didn't go to those kind of places where you got that kind of friction. Like I used to go to Danceteria. One floor was hip hop, one floor was house music, one floor was reggae, and one floor was new wave. So you went to the new wave, you heard the Talking Heads, you heard Blondie. Reggae, you heard nothing but good reggae records. Then you came down, you heard R&B. Then you came down to the main floor, that was Brucey B from the rooftop playing. And so that kicked it off real nice. So if you got tired of that, you went to a different place, different floor. When you got tired of that, so you had a variety of music to listen to, which was cool. It was a great concept. It just didn't last for years and years, but it was really good. I wish that people had that now, that you could go to a club and go to a different floor and hear a different kind of music. That's how you get turned on to different kind of sounds. And that's why, you heard Yellow Magic Orchestra. Now you wouldn't hear Yellow Magic Orchestra on the hip hop floor until it became popular. And how it became popular? Albert and I selling that record to death. And people go, oh, I like that, I heard that, I like that. Word of mouth blew that up. Then I went to see them perform. Oh man, that was great. These little Asian guys came out. I mean, stiff as a board. They walk like, then they started playing. Oh man, we went crazy. Blondie and Chris Stein was sitting next to me. And Chris Stein got up. And when he got up, he reached back and knocked my drink over. So I said, yo, Chris, yo, you gonna buy me another one? And he said, yeah, no problem. That's all it was. It was at the Harkness Theater on Broadway. Yellow Magic, and it was beamed back to Japan. That was really nice because it was a lot of celebrities there. But we got in because the record label hooked us up because, we got it, we blew it up for them. So those kind of venues I liked. Matter of fact, I saw Patti LaBelle's last show at the Harkness Theater. I went the first night of the week, the last week, and I went the last night, and you couldn't tell the difference. That's how good they were. They were great. So that's a little about, the things that I went to in the city back then. That's when the record label, they did things for you. They invited you to dinners. They invited you to B. Smith's, the Shark Bar. They did things in certain places where it was cool to go to, and you sat and you met artists and you met other retailers. You vibe with them. It was more of a connection. You finally knew who you finally seen the person that owned this store, and you talked to them about what they sold and what they did, how they started, and you come to find out you had a lot in common. So I miss that about the record industry. They don't do that anymore. They don't like. Well, matter of fact, there's no more retailers.
That's my next question. Describe the current state of the record retail industry.
It's little mom and pop stores selling vinyl now, where there used to be thousands of stores, chain stores. Now, Best Buy don't carry cassettes, CDs, or DVDs. So guess who's selling it? Amazon. The streaming services, that kills the sales too. Well, I gotta buy a DVD when I can put it on TV and watch it, pull it up and watch it. So the industry kind of killed itself, but I still will buy a DVD that I like, because then I can watch it when I want to watch it and not when they want to program it. And that all stemmed, the death of music and video retailers began with Napster. So now you had a generation of kids growing up. I don't have to buy music. What they fail to realize, if an artist can't make money, they're not going to keep making music. They're going to do something else. And what you going to do then? See, that's what they didn't realize. So now you have all these download sites. So you can download your music to your house. You can find new music. You got Bandcamp, you got TrackSource, and there's a few others that you can actually find new music on. So that's what the DJs are doing now. And they're downloading, they're buying some songs, they go into flea markets when people bring their record collections and they sell it. They catch up on the oldies they missed, or they play in vinyl and that they can't play that vinyl no more because it's worn out, and they look to replace it. They're buying imports of the newest songs. So Range Music is like that. They import a lot of 12-inch singles and albums of the hardest artists, Louis Vega, DJ Spin, and people like that. So they do a record on TrackSource, and you look it up and you like it, and you want it on vinyl. If it's available in Europe, but it's not available in America, so they buy the import. Even though they might buy the MP3, but they like playing vinyl because the sound is warmer. It's not digital, so so that segment of society is holding. The DJs that want vinyl are holding those record stores. And so a brick and mortar store is hard because you need a traffic flow. You need people coming in there every day to buy music. And your rent got to be affordable. You got to pay your people. But still, not everybody's going in. Everybody's downloading for free as opposed to buying vinyl. So that's a very select society of people. They want the vinyl. So it's growing. Younger DJs are learning to get vinyl and learn the craft, because what the MP3 did, what it did was, so what Serato did was make people think they could be a DJ. All right, it made it easier to be a DJ. But what it takes to be a DJ is knowing what to do. Don't play for you, play for them. They missed that point. That's why you in your house play in your bedroom or your living room or your basement, and you're not outside playing for people, because you're playing for yourself. You have to play for the people. And the DJs that play for everybody, that hit the crowd better, they're the ones who have learned, I can't play for me, I got to play for them. Now, granted, when your name gets so big, you can do anything you want. You can play anything you want, and the crowd is going to jump to it. But there's going to be certain records you got to play. You can't get around it. You got to play Settle Off. You know what I'm saying? Got to play Love Is the Message. You gotta play, what is it? Rocker's Revenge. My Joy by Quentin Harris. There are certain records that when you play out, you better play it. Because guess what? You might be good and know a lot about music, but your crowd is not as deep They only like what they like. So once you figure out what they like, you got to give it to them. Now you got a certain segment of society that will dance to anything that you play. So you have to develop that crowd. But you also got to realize that not everybody is going to be so easy to hit. So you got to figure out what they bobbing their head to, what they stomping their feet to, what they moving back and forth to. So that means you got to read the crowd. So now you got an idea. You play the record, and who's not on the dance floor? But what are they doing when they're not on the dance floor? Are they patting their feet or bobbing their head? Are they continuing their conversation? Are they laughing? So that kind of tells them they feel in the music. You know, they're not sitting around going, I don't like that. No, they're engaging because the music is making them feel good. And then when you figure out they bounce to that, they might bounce to this. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you got to figure out. The young DJs, they got to go and hear other veteran DJs play. And don't look at the DJ, look at the crowd. Walk through the crowd and stand there and listen to the conversations. What they're wearing, how old they are. Are they gay? Are they straight? Are they there with their family? So once you learn that, once you learn to walk through the crowd and listen to what people are saying about a song or something, everybody got their opinion about a DJ or what he's playing. But you have to dissect what they like and what they're talking about. You know, is this guy's opinion of the record that just played, is it a valid opinion? You got to figure that out, you know, because this person might not like what's playing. And then the next record, he's like, oh my God, that's my song. Then you got to figure out why he didn't like that record. Is it personal taste? Or he's just at the moment he didn't like it, or she didn't like it. So you got to figure that out. And the only way you figure that out is by keeping your mouth shut and standing around and listening and looking at the crowd. See, once the young DJs learn that, they'll be better DJs. You know, it's not always about the mix. It's about what you mix, what song you picked. Because believe it or not, Larry Levan didn't really mix well, but he played what they wanted to hear. Like he would play it, like he had a new record that he did a mix on, he played it 5 times in a row. What you gonna do? It's my club. And I got the greatest sound system in New York. And he's messing with the sound. And you out there getting high, drinking, dropping Snoopy and all that. Remember, that was the 80s, you know. So now you're feeling it. You're seeing other people feeling the song, and you go, what's wrong with me? How come I don't feel the song? You know. So slowly but surely, if you hear it enough, you might like it. So that's one way of getting your crowd into it. But he had that luxury. Not every DJ and every club had that luxury. So, because T. Scott played music, Ted Patterson played good music, Tony Humphries played good music, Louis Vega played good music. You know, the dudes from Baltimore played good music. Dudes in Florida played good music. Ohio played good music. Chicago played good music. The Europeans played good music. So Kenny Carpenter played good music. So you just have to flow about, did they play enough music that you liked? That's how they got followers. You know. You ask Kat, she was there and she said, man, they play so much good music in the beginning. Then when it got into, when Masai and Cozy started playing the minimal house music stuff and with no lyrics or very little lyrics, it kind of turn some of the people that like songs off. Because I'm sitting with a group of people and go, I wish he would play a record with some lyrics. And I'm saying, well, they're dancing to it. They're gyrating to it. They're moving back and forth. They're in a zone because that's what they like. So you can't argue about their success of moving the crowd. You have to wait till they play something you like. And then you'll be out there, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing. Yeah. I was sitting next to a girl, her cousin was in GQ. So when they played a GQ record, she perked up. She has a personal connection to them, So you never know who knows anybody in the crowd. They could be family members to some of the people you hear on the record. So, but I noticed that since house started like in the 80s, now we're in the 90s, now we're in 2025, that crowd got gray hair. They like what they like, but they like good music. They'll tolerate deep house, Afro house. They'll tolerate it, but they want to hear a good song, something they can sing to. That's a key to making good music. The hook of the song. There's different hooks. There's the beat hook, there's the lyrical hook, and then it's the singer voice hooks you too. Lolita Holloway, Chaka Khan, Jocelyn Brown, Tasha LaRae, what's her name? Kim something. There's certain vocalists out in house music. When you hear their vocal, it gets you. You got it. They're good singers. They put power in the music, in the vocal. Even the ones with an odd vocal, it gets you because the producer knew how to set up the track to feature her vocal. Just like Set It Off. Set It Off is an okay record, but man, did it hit hard. Hit hard like it's all right, because it had that really odd thing about it that people love. There's other records like that. I just can't remember them all, but you know it when you hear it. Oh man, that's good. That's a good song. And I like the vocalist. My favorite vocalist was Lolita Holloway, as far as dance music. I don't know too many singers out there that really, her vocal matched the energy of the track. The song she did with Dan Hartman, oh, come on, man. When they sing that chorus, strong enough to walk on through the night, and then she goes, through the night, you like, it went through you. I gave you another record with a singer went through you. Don't Turn Your Back on Me by the Frontline Orchestra. That girl's vocal and Eddie Grant's production, Larry Levan had to do nothing with the record. The record was perfect for his club, And she would go, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Please let it go. And then he'd turn up the frequencies on her vocal and went through you. Those are the kind of records that we in the record store, we would listen for that special thing about it. Because we know it would hit people. That's what that's about. It's just like Gene Carn on Was That All It Was? When you hear a vocal on that, or Valerie Simpson and Nick Ashford on their songs, those vocals hit you. They were great. Patti LaBelle, even though she screamed, but her vocal got you. Because when you grow up listening to songs from the 50s and 60s, and then you hear some of the singers in the 70s and 80s, they were following a path. put your all into the record. Let them feel your emotion. I used to tell up and coming singers, yeah, sure, you can sing somebody else's song because they set it up for you already. They gave you the low point, the high point, the midpoint, where you put the power, where you could be subtle. But you gotta write your own song and you gotta learn how to do it yourself. That way you'll get noticed. And they look at me like I had two heads. What are you talking about? Yo, any singer with a good voice can sing somebody else's stuff because it's already, there it is. I just gotta follow what they do. It's harder when you have to put your talent in there to get it done.
So spot on. I would say I agree with you 1,000%. I'd also say the songs that resonate with me are when the singer isn't singing the record, when they become the record.
Mhm. Yes.
Like Lolita Holloway, all the references you mentioned. Tell us a story about the Paradise Garage. Tell us what was the Paradise Garage and tell us a story about the Paradise Garage.
Well, I only went there like 3 times. And one time was a regular Friday night. And I really didn't like the atmosphere. But that's just me, you know. But the sound system was great. The music was great. I just wasn't into the crowd. So I'm straight. Where's the women? None but men. So that kind of turned me off. And then the other times I went, it was because of showcases. The Peach Boys showcase up on the roof was really good. We were acting like nuts up there, smoking, sniffing, drinking, and having a good time. But for me to go there on a regular basis, nah, it wasn't me. Another thing is, me being a retailer, I'm playing music 8 hours a day, and you want me to go to a club and spend 6 to 7 hours in the club after I spent 8 hours in the store? It's kind of burnout. So there's got to be a place that I like. I'm not saying the garage was whack. It just wasn't for me. And that's how clubs are, you know. So if you don't want to be in a mostly gay club, don't go. All my friends used to go there. Oh, it's so good. It's so great. I'm going, yo, man, the cocaine in my pocket is like turning to water. It's so hot in here. Come on, what are you talking about? Those were those days. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm drug free now, but back then, I was a mess. You know what I'm saying? And then they were dropping acid in the punch. And that picked you up, yo, yeah, next time you hype and everything. And then the heat would get next to you. So I'm not saying the garage was a bad club. It was a great club. Greatest sound system I ever heard. I mean, as far as in a club. And he worked it to death. But it just wasn't me, you know. I'd rather go to Justine's or a place like Justine's where there's a lot of women and you meet the girls, have a good time, have a drink. Reggie's playing good music. Whoever was playing that night would play good music. That's just what I liked. So I went where I liked, things that I liked. I would go to the clubs that everybody was talking about just to see what it's about. But for me to be a regular customer there, no, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. It's just me. And this is not a put down of the garage. There's some people think that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's what you think. That was for you, wasn't necessarily for me. I'd rather go to a place like I like Felix Hernandez parties when he was at Roseland. Oh my God. 3,000 people, 1,500 women. Boy, we had such a good time there. Oh God, it was great. Even though his DJing skills was so-so, but he played good music. and everybody still danced, because he played the songs that they like, I just wasn't with playing Give It Up, Turn It Loose, and then right behind it plays Shame, Shame, Shame by Shirley and Company. You just made me trip off the dance floor. I know why he did that. He's a radio DJ. He's not a club DJ. He didn't realize the energy. Now he knows the energy. It took him almost 15, 16 years to learn. You got to keep that energy at a certain level, because he's had other DJs come and play with him. And he's looking and he's listening. He's going, oh, that's the formula. You ain't gonna be a great mixer, but you better play the next record with enough energy to keep the crowd on the floor. So if you're playing Running Away and you drop Bra, that's what they want. Same energy, same level. Going, it keeps them going. But before, he didn't do a lot of stuff like that. Now he does, because he's been influenced by so many different DJs. And that's kind of like the key to DJing. It's like, play what they like. Don't worry about what you like. Play what you like in your house. Play what they like when you're out learning. I go around to different clubs and different bars and all that to hear different DJs play, just to see what is Harlem jumping to? What is Brooklyn jumping to? What is the Bronx jumping to? What is the Lower East Side jumping to? What they like? So if you're into music, you got to travel around and be influenced by different influences. So oh wow, I like that record. I think that record would be good for this party I'm playing. That's what I think the music scene as a DJ is all about. It's about finding songs that everybody will like. But if you're in a location, like if you're at the Row House on 115th and 8th Avenue, you got to play a certain kind of music for them. You can play house, you can play rap, you can play reggae, you can play soca. Because the DJs that play there, they've already tested it out. And the crowd reacted to it and they want to hear that. Because you have Tall Guy, Reggie Wells, B-Fats, now Lady D Wells is playing there. And they all play the same kind of music because they know their crowd. They're not going to play too much house. They're not going to play too much rap. They're not going to play too much R&B. They're going to mix it up. They're going to play some soca. They're going to play some reggae. Like the first time I heard Boots on the Ground was in the Row House. All these girls all of a sudden start pulling out fans. I'm like, what? I missed one? They liked the record. Record blew up, but it started in the South and came up to New York. So the DJs are going, I know I got to play that record. It's hot. So.
Tell us about the Row House on 115th and 8th Avenue. I don't know that venue.
Well, what it is, it's a bar.
Is it now or is it back in the day?
It's right now. It's happening now, every Thursday. Every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And what it is you reserve a table, you call up and say, I want to have a birthday celebration there. So I need 3 tables, or I need 2 booths. And you bring your people in, and basically they're making their money serving you liquor and food. The dance floor is about that big. So basically you're just standing there and you're having a good time with your people. So Reggie Wells plays there. He packs the house. So it's him and B-Fats. They were packing Thursday. DJ Tall Guy had Wednesday. But Reggie and B-Fats were so strong that they had a bigger crowd coming because Reggie got 40-some years in the music industry playing music for Harlem. So he gets a bigger crowd. Tall Guy would do Friday. He gets a good crowd. Somebody else will do Saturday. Now, these are different promoters promoting those days, hiring the DJ they want. But Reggie has Thursday, that's his night. So he'll put any, he'll put what he wants, who he wants to play with him when he wants to, yeah, I want this guy to play with me. So he play, so it's good. And the people gravitate to him because he has a huge following. But it's a small bar. But you go in there, it's lively. People talking, we all pressed up against each other, no problems. People walking by, bumping into you. So you just move to the side, let them by. The row house is nice, but it ain't for everybody. No, I'm not saying it's for anybody. It ain't for the Storm and Norman crowd. It's for a different crowd.
Can you just pull up or you have to call to come in?
You can come in, but you ain't guaranteed a seat because you didn't reserve a table. And that's limited. But people get up and leave, it's from like 6 to 11. So people come for a birthday party, they had their fill, then they leave. And you can grab a seat, sit down, order something. Now, if you sit at the bar, you gotta order something. You sit at the table, you gotta order something. At least a soda, or appetizer, because they have people walking around to serve you. So that's what they're about. And it's owned by the same people that own a restaurant on 116th Street in Naples. So the lady owns that and that, but the row house is just the newest thing on the block. It's happened until it burns out. Nothing lasts forever. So. But it's a good, I've seen white, black, Spanish, they all go there. Come in, eat some food, listen to the music. There's out in front of the place. There's tables. You can go out there and eat and listen to the music coming through the the doors wide open, so you hear the music coming out. But it only goes to 11 o'clock because it's people that live above the bar. But it's nice. It ain't for everybody, but it's nice. So if a friend of yours wants to have a birthday party there, they invite you. You go there to have fun with your friends, which makes it different. You got regulars that go there every Thursday or every Wednesday or every Friday. That's different. That's what they want to do. But really, the appeal is you can have a whole section for your birthday party because you reserved it. Because your people are going to show up and spend money and have a good time. Even if they don't even dance, they're going to sit there and listen to the music and laugh and be with you because they're there to celebrate, your birthday or your anniversary or whatever it is. So it's cool like that. A lot of bars in Harlem are starting to do that. Like Cochina is starting to do that. That's on Lenox Avenue or 7th Avenue in the 30s. They getting the DJ to come in and they're telling you that you could reserve tables and have your little party there. They piggybacking off of that idea. So which is good. There used to be jukeboxes, back in the day.